Hello and welcome to Dan Explains. I'm Dan. SpaceX is the first rocket company to devise a way to completely recover the first stage of their rockets. Even the Space Shuttle discarded the biggest piece of the first stage, their propellant tank. The way SpaceX did this was by adding landing legs to the Falcon 9's first stage. With the new Starship rocket they're building, they plan to skip the legs and catch the Starship and the first stage booster right in midair. Let me explain why. Up until only about 5 years ago, the only thing close to a reusable rocket was the Space Shuttle. The shuttle wasn't fully reusable, of course, since the propellant tanks were always lost. Additionally, the shuttle and boosters cost so much to refurbish and maintain, they would have actually been cheaper to just keep using the fully expendable Saturn V. So that barely counts. Then along comes SpaceX. I think most people at this point are aware that SpaceX has pretty much perfected the recovery and reuse of the first stage boosters. This has helped them undercut most of the competition in the orbital launch market, especially now that they've surpassed the critical 10 recoveries per booster, which is the break-even point for the booster reuse. They achieve this by adding landing legs and grid fins to the boosters and then essentially flying them back to land on land or out to a ship in the ocean if they had less propellant margin. Watching them come back is very spectacular. It's hard to believe that it even works. SpaceX plans to do something even nuttier with Starship and its booster, literally catching it out of midair instead of fitting it with landing legs, as shown in this excellent animation from Tjin. Hopefully I pronounced that right. This is of course for the model of Starship that is made to return to Earth. Starships designed for the Moon or Mars will obviously need landing legs. SpaceX already has a huge tower with an arm for catching starships in Boca Chica, Texas. And they're currently building another at Cape Canaveral, Florida as well, next to the iconic Pad 39A, which is the pad the Apollo 11 launched from. Elon Musk also released a simulation on Twitter of how it would work. It's a simulation, so as you can see, the quality is a bit lacking. But by looking at the animations, you can see it looks like the giant arm is catching the ship and boosters by the flaps and grid fins, respectively. And yes, it's giant, just like how small a person is in comparison. It's like something out of a Japanese anime. Anyway, they won't actually be catching them by the flaps and the grid fins. You see the tiny pin right there? Yeah, that's what they want to catch it by. It's pretty insane, especially considering their Falcon 9s often miss the bullseye. Okay, not by much. But if you're even a foot off, or even rotated just a few degrees, which is something Falcon 9 doesn't have to deal with, then you're gonna have a messy landing. Elon Musk seems pretty confident his harebrained scheme will work, but why do it at all? Especially if you already have a proven method that works. I mean, with Falcon 9, landing boosters with legs was crazy enough, but why try something even riskier? It's almost like Elon Musk is a thrill seeker, and jumping off of a bridge with a rubber band attached to his legs wasn't satisfying enough. So he's going to jump out of a plane with a parachute instead. Well, the biggest reason is actually pretty straightforward. Weight. Every pound you take off the booster, and even more so the Starship, the more cargo and propellant you can get into space. When it comes to getting to orbit, Starship actually runs pretty close to the margins. And the legs can't be simple crush course stumps like they were on the prototypes, because those can't be reused. And Elon wants to be able to turn these ships around as fast as possible, like literally in hours. So they would need big legs like the Falcon 9 booster has, but proportionally bigger and probably more of them too. The legs also have to survive re-entry of Earth's atmosphere as well, so they can't just be flimsy. Just on a side note, the legs that will be needed to land on the Moon and Mars can be much smaller due to the lower gravity of those worlds. Every pound you save means more propellant brought to orbit, so less refueling flights from tankers are needed. And you need even fewer of those tankers as well because each one brings you more propellant. My back-of-the-napkin math, based on the specs from the Falcon 9 scaled up, shows that you could save 36 metric tons on the booster and 10 metric tons on Starship. In terms of payload, that would be like 13 metric tons to orbit, or a whole nother full-size bus to orbit, for the people who think in units of buses instead of metric tons. If Starship is reusable, why is it so critical that we lift as much to orbit as possible at one time? What a lot of people don't realize is, Elon has done SpaceX's financial future on Starlink, which is the network of satellites SpaceX is building to provide internet access across the whole Earth. On the surface, the Starlink network they are building using the Falcon 9 seems like it's successful. People are signing up faster than SpaceX can build the terminals. Well, that's the problem. Too much demand. Even with how many satellites SpaceX is putting into orbit, they will never have enough bandwidth to make Starlink a money-making operation. I'm not going to go over why. You can just search Starlink busted on YouTube to find the videos on that subject. Lots of people like to rag on Elon Musk and his companies as absurd scams. I've already done a video on that, but Elon Musk is one of the richest people on Earth for a reason. And it's not because he's a thief. He's a huge risk taker, however. He's been mostly lucky with the gambles he's made so far. Well, SpaceX is a better Starlink satellite called version 2, which could make Starlink a money-producing operation, but only if they can get them to orbit for very little money. Falcon 9 can't do it, and if you do the math on Starship, it won't either. At least not for years, or until after they spent a decade refining it like they have with the Falcon 9. So, when it comes to weight, they need to cut as much out of the Starship and the booster as possible to prevent Starlink from bankrupting them. That's why SpaceX has been gambling on such a risky maneuver. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please press the like button. Subscribe to my channel and ding the bell to get notified when I post new videos. Also, please support me on Patreon. Link in the description. The more people support me, the more time I can dedicate to making videos like this one. So, until next time, have a great week.